Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy, and unfortunately, Kara is not with us this time around. She is in Washington, D.C. as we speak for a anime convention called Takacon or something like that. Anyway. So she will not be joining us today. It's just me. So let's see what's been going on around here. Today is Thursday, August 7th. Yesterday was the release of season 2 of Wednesday. And Wendy's also launched their Wednesday meals. If you've had the chance to get one of those, I suggest you go get one before they're gone. I noticed that there was some pop-ups somewhere where they had like a haunted drive-thru. I saw this on TikTok, and like this one lady, I don't know where this was, but she waited in line for like 5 hours to get Wendy's and just to go through this pop-up drive-thru. Now, she videotaped the whole thing, and I happened to check it out, and honestly, I don't know that if it was worth waiting for 5 hours in line just to go see this Wednesday pop-up or for the TV show that's coming out, that came out yesterday. But anyway, if you had a chance to go eat that, let me know. Also, if you've had a chance to see the second season of Wednesday, shout us out and let us know what you thought of it. I have not had a chance to see it yet. Kara and I are supposed to be meeting up next week on Wednesday up in Columbus. So hopefully while we're up there, we'll get a chance to binge watch Wednesday together. Oh, we have some paranormal news for you guys. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet or not. I'm sure a lot of you have. It's been going around the interwebs. But Matt Rife, I don't know if you know who he is or not, but he is a comedian. And him and YouTuber Elton Castee have become the legal guardians of the Ed and Lorraine Warren home and their occult museum. Now, Ed and Lorraine are a famous paranormal couple Ed was a demonologist and Lorraine was like a clairvoyant. They were involved in like The Conjuring, all the things with The Conjuring. They were involved with the Amityville Horror. They're really famous. But anyway, they are also the owners of Annabelle the doll. So now, Matt Rife and Elton are going to be the legal guardians for the next 5 years of all the contents of the haunted collection that Ed and Lorraine owned, including Annabelle. And they're also going to be guardians of their home. So what they plan to do is they're plan on opening the house for overnight visits. Now, nobody has been able to visit the museum since 2019 because I guess there was some zoning issues and they shut down the museum. And Lorraine also died that same year in 2019 at the age of 92. So the museum hasn't been open since 2019, and they're talking about only allowing 8 people to stay in the home, but they're also giving them access to the occult museum. Now, when Lorraine and Ed had the museum and were running it, they would have a priest come almost weekly to exorcise the museum because of all of the demonic entities and the attachments to a lot of the stuff that they have in this occult museum of theirs. So I don't know. I wouldn't want Annabelle, honestly. She scares me. Rightfully so. You don't mess with that stuff. And I think it's crazy that they're just going to they're going to allow just anybody to come in there. I feel like they're asking for all kinds of trouble. I mean, we've seen over the years, well, not even over the years, just in the past month, 2 months, all the things that have happened when Annabelle went on her little, tour of the United States and, all the 911 centers in Pennsylvania went down when she visited Gettysburg. And then you had the fires that happened in New Orleans and all that. I mean, I don't know. Crazy stuff's going on over there. But yeah, so now Matt Rife and Elton Castee are now the guardians of the Ed and Lorraine home and their occult museum. So it'll be really interesting to see what goes on now that all that stuff is now under their guardianship. For today, I thought it would be interesting for us to do something. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to tell you guys about a story that I came across on TikTok about a TikTok user by the name of Spooky Foodie and her boyfriend who were basically had a ghost attached to them for like 9 months. So I came across this story on YouTube, and I thought it was really interesting, and I thought I would share it with all of you because, I mean, most of the ghost stories we hear are like scary and make you, think twice about reaching out and talking to spirits and stuff like that. But this one actually had a good ending, and I thought it was really cool. So anyway, here we go. As I told you, a TikToker by the name of Spooky Foodie and her boyfriend had a spiritual attachment to them for 9 months. It all happened in 2023. So they went to see his family in South Carolina, and they went to a very old cemetery while they were there with his siblings. And they played a game called Find My Grave with a spirit box that they had. And if you don't know, Find My Grave is this game where you ask the spirit box questions, and apparently a ghost will answer your questions, and it guides you to their grave in the graveyard. And it does this by giving you some clues or whatever. So they were given some clues by this spirit entity, whatever you want to call it, and they walked all over the cemetery trying to find the spirit's grave, but they couldn't find nothing that matched or related to what the clues that the spirit was giving them. So they started communicating with the ghost, and they were asking it questions, are you a male? And the spirit box / the ghost responded with dum duh. And then they asked it again, were you into music? And the spirit box went dum duh. And then they were like, were you a music teacher? And the spirit box went dum duh. So they asked it a couple more questions, and then they got nothing for a while. And they decided that they were going to name the ghost Music Man because, after asking them the questions that they asked, they found out that it had been a music teacher, and they thought Music Man was a good name for him, or a good nickname. So they tried to communicate some more, and nothing really happened. So they decided that, the ghost was done communicating with them, and they left. And Spooky Foodie, she and her boyfriend went on back home. And a few days go by, they're back home, and she decides that she works in this art gallery, and she has this feeling that the art gallery could be haunted. So she gets out the spirit box, and she decides, she's just going to be, it was only her in there, and she was just being silly and playing around. And she thought, oh, well, I'll ask if there's any spirits in here, while I'm just free time on our hands. She gets out the spirit box and she asks if there are any spirits around, and she hears dum duh. And then she hears it again. And she gets freaked out about this and thinks that, maybe the spirit box is broken and, is calling BS on it because of the whole experience that they had when they were at the cemetery. She's thinking, well, there's no way that it could still be saying the same noise. That was in a totally different state from where I'm at now. So a few days later, she goes on another investigation with a psychic that she trusts and her boyfriend. They turn on the spirit box again, and as soon as they turn it on, they hear dum duh. Now, the psychic who's with them, who has no idea of anything that's gone on when they went to South Carolina, she had no idea that, they had met the spirit in the cemetery or anything. And she says that as soon as she hears the dum duh from the spirit box, that she sees a lonely man, a lost grave, and she tells them that they have someone that they brought back with them. Now, that's not what you want to hear when you've been in a cemetery messing around with a spirit box, trying to communicate with the spirits that live in the cemetery. When the psychic tells them this, that she also tells them that the lonely man likes their energy and that he died alone and he became attached to them because he liked their energy. So the couple is like, oh my God, how does she know all this? Let the psychic know that what she said was, spot on. The spirit box starts going crazy and goes dum da da da. Dum da da da, to let them all know that it's the Music Man and that he agrees with what she said. So now fast forward to their next investigation, which takes place a couple days or weeks later, and they are in a place called Griffith Park. And they're doing a ghost investigation again, and they have the spirit box back out again. As soon as they turn it on, guess what happens? They hear the da-da again, over and over and over on the spirit box. And then all of a sudden, the spirit box stops and says Music Man. So now they've got the spirit identifying itself as the nickname that they had given him. So Spooky Foodie gets all emotional and asks the spirit, how do you know that your name is Music Man? And the spirit finally spoke to them through the spirit box and tells her that he's proud of that nickname, and that's why he wants them to call him the Music Man. So they go, and that session ends, and they go on, and they're at another place, and they're doing another investigation with the spirit box again, and they're in this new location, and they hear da-da, da-da, da-da. So now he's also communicating to them by singing notes like ah and So then he starts to send them messages during their investigations, and he keeps saying over and over the number 34. And he says this over and over at least 25 times. So they can't figure out, they're trying to wrap their head around what could this number 34 mean, what meaning does it have for the Music Man, So a couple days later, she decides she's going to go on Instagram Live, and she's doing a spirit box session because she wants to share with her listeners what has been going on and what her and her boyfriend keep hearing whenever they turn on the spirit box and the Music Man communicates with them. And they all hear the Music Man saying 34, 34, 34 over and over and over. And she's trying to figure out what it means. She's looking up all this information online. She's looking up cemetery plot lines and stuff. She's looked at codes. She's looking into angel numbers, hopefully making out what this 3-4 could mean. So, she was still not able to figure out what 34 meant. And, a lot of her listeners had no idea as to what the 34 could mean also. Then she decides she's going to use the Music Man in her investigations to help her find other spirits and whatnot when, they're out doing these investigations. So she does that. This continues on for a while, and the Music Man, helps them find other spirits when they're at different locations and that all works out okay. So fast forward, and it's getting to be around Christmas time, and the boyfriend is out trying to find something to get her for Christmas. And he knows that she likes the band called the Misfits. And they have a very stylized type of typeface that they use for their band name in all their albums and all their merchandise and that. So the boyfriend happens to be at a vintage store, and he's looking around trying to find something to get his girlfriend for Christmas. And for whatever reason, he's led to the very back of the store, where there's this lone t-shirt that's sitting back there that has the name on it, Music Man, which is so crazy because that's what they've nicknamed the spirit or entity that they brought back with them from North Carolina. So he, goes to the back of the store, and he sees this, and he knows right away that he's got to get it for her. It's like the perfect gift, because not only does it say Music Man, but the font that Music Man is printed in, or, that the typeface has on this t-shirt, is the same font that the Misfits band uses on all their merchandise. She's in another investigation. The boyfriend had given her the shirt. It was a little bit after Christmas. And the Music Man comes through the ghost box and tells her present. And she's like, at first she doesn't understand. She's like, what do you mean present? I don't understand. And then he says Christmas present. And she's like, oh. And then she gets it, because that was the Music Man's way of acknowledging that he was the one that helped her boyfriend find the Music Man t-shirt that he found in the vintage store. So now fast forward a couple months later, she's investigating at the Clown Motel. And I don't know, we've talked about the Clown Motel before on our podcast. And it's like this haunted motel in Nevada, and it's like all these clowns are like everywhere. Like the person that owns it gets sent all these clown figurines and dolls and any kind of clown memorabilia, stuff from all the horror movies and all that, and it's supposedly very haunted. So she is actually at the Clown Motel, and her boyfriend are doing an investigation there, and she's actually doing a YouTube video for YouTube. And while she's doing the video, you can actually hear the Music Man in the background saying da 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 over and over. And she, tells all her listeners that's, the Music Man, and he's very vocal, and, you'll hear him all the time. But after that investigation, the Music Man disappears. They have not heard from him. They don't know what became of him, but they have some theories and ideas of what happens. After she had posted these videos about all this, some people figured out what maybe the 34 meant to the Music Man and stuff. They think that the Music Man was finally able to pass on to heaven or get to the other side finally after all these years of not being able to do that. But what they think happened is that they say that he was stuck here on Earth because he had unfinished business, that he had to learn something, and at first they weren't sure what it was he had to learn. And they think maybe it had something to do with because when he was alive, I guess he never really had any family and he died alone. And the YouTube videos and stuff she has, they do like a cert type of investigation where they, I think it's called like the Estes method or whatever. And she puts headphones on somebody else in the room and they ask questions and they answer without hearing the question. And they talk to Music Man and he tells them that they were his best friends and he basically enjoyed his time with them and he felt like family around them. And he's in a better place now, he got to go to heaven. So she feels like they were meant to find him in order to help him get to the other side or to move on. I think that's kind of a different take on some of these ghost stories that we hear where these spirits are all evil and out to get you. It's kind of nice to hear one where the spirit wasn't bad or evil and it didn't have any ill will towards anybody. But that doesn't mean you should go messing around with the spirit world, people, because you never know what you're going to bring back or who you're really talking to. So be careful if you try to do that. But anyway, so that's my story for today. It was about the Music Man and how this couple helped him heal and move on to the other side. And I think in a way he actually helped them too. And they helped them, realize that not all spirits are bad or evil, that we can sometimes, even the spirit world needs help from us. Anyway, I don't think there's really anything else to talk about, so I guess I will leave you with that story and remind you all to stay safe out there and cool off. School's about ready to start. So if you're heading back to school, we want to wish you a great school year, whether it's college, high school, grade school, whatever school, grad school. Like I said, hopefully Kara will be back next time. And we will have some more stories to share with you all. And hopefully I will have some more information to share with you all about my mom and her alien story and her ghost in her house. So, well, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode where we talked about the Music Man and some of the news about the paranormal world and the purchase of guardianship of the Warren home and the occult museum to Matt Rife and to Elton. Be sure to check out some of our other episodes in the meantime until we come back again in 2 weeks with another exciting episode of the Two Scaredy Cats podcast. If you like our episode today, please be sure to give us a review or a like. You can find us on YouTube or you can find us on Instagram. And be sure to like us and follow us there. It really helps our show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for another exciting episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.